We should have never gone inside. That was the only thought hammering through my skull as I sprinted through the darkened maze of rusted catwalks, my breath desperate. Behind me, metal screamed as something enormous stirred to life. It had all started as a stupid dare. A group of 5 friends high on adrenaline and the lure of the unknown standing at the mouth of the abandoned factory like moths drawn to a black flame. The place had been shut down decades ago, its remains outlined against the night sky. Windows shattered, walls scarred with graffiti. The air smelled like a metallic tang of rust and something fouler, something we couldn't name. Ethan, our self-proclaimed leader, pushed open the warped double doors and a gust of stale air greeted us. It smelt like old oil. The inside was worse, an expanse of darkness pierced only by the pale beams of our flashlights. Rows of dead machines stood on the floor covered with dust and cobwebs, their forms hulking and alien. Conveyor belts tangled like veins. A nest of wires coiled in the corners dripping from the ceiling like the entrails of some mechanical beast. "Creepy as hell," Lisa whispered, her voice barely above a breath. I agreed but said nothing. The air felt charged, like the static before a storm. We wandered deeper, boots crunching on debris. The only sound we could hear were our own footsteps. It was the silence that was strange. It wasn't the calm kind. It was the type that warned of something bad was about to go down. We walked further into the factory, dim light beaming through a broken window above and dust swirling as we moved. Then we heard a sound, a low mechanical hum vibrating beneath our feet. A groan of shifting metal echoed through the building. "Did you hear that?" Dylan muttered. I nodded, my pulse spiking. My flashlight flickered as we turned in unison toward the source, a row of dormant machinery standing like rusting sentinels. Then a conveyor belt sputtered to life with a coughing jolt. Gears clicked. A low grinding noise filled the room as ancient cogs began to turn, the mechanical corpse of the factory groaning back to life. "What the hell?" Ethan started, but then the machines began to move. A drill arm twitched. A metal claw snapped open and shut, searching. Conveyor belts rolled, though nothing sat on them. A furnace door yawned open, belching a gust of searing heat. "They're turning on," Lisa gasped. "But there's no power." Then we heard a whisper. Not a voice. Not something human. But a vibration, a fractured hum threading through the sounds of grinding gears. Like the factory itself was breathing, waking. Then the scream tore through the silence. Ethan. We whipped around. He was standing near a metal press, his arm caught beneath a mechanical claw that had latched onto his wrist. His face contorted in agony as he struggled, his flesh bruising under the unyielding grip. "Help me!" Lisa and I lunged forward. Dylan hesitated, his flashlight trembling. The moment our hands touched Ethan, the machine jerked violently, yanking him toward the press with a sickening drag. The gears screamed. The whispering hum grew louder, feeding on his pain. "Pull harder!" I shrieked, yanking with every ounce of strength I had. Ethan's eyes were wide, wild. He gasped. "It's alive!" The press shuddered. I saw it move, saw the ancient rusted thing tremble as if in anticipation. The metal claw tightened. Ethan's scream cut short as he was wrenched from our grasp. The press slammed downward with brutal force. The sound was wet. Final. A choked sob escaped Lisa as she stumbled back. Blood speckled the floor, glistening beneath the flickering fluorescence that had somehow come to life. The factory was no longer abandoned. It was watching us. "We have to run," Dylan rasped, his voice wild with terror. Then the machines roared. Conveyor belts convulsed, throwing up jagged metal. The floor vibrated as pistons fired, steam hissing through the air like the breath of a sleeping monster roused from slumber. The clawed arms, once motionless, now reached, searching, grasping. I bolted. We sprinted through the chaos, dodging swinging mechanical arms, ducking as gears spun wildly, spewing sparks. Lisa shrieked as a metal tendril shot from the ceiling, narrowly missing her. Dylan tripped over a loose wire, his flashlight tumbling into the abyss below. He scrambled up, his face pale, drenched in sweat. The exit was a gaping rectangle of salvation, but the doors we had entered through were no longer open, no longer still. The massive steel panels were grinding shut, metal groaning as they prepared to trap us inside the belly of the beast. "Faster!" I howled. Lisa was the first through, slipping past the narrowing gap. Dylan threw himself forward, tumbling through just in time. I was next, diving with everything I had, and then something cold wrapped around my ankle. I hit the ground hard, my breath exploding from my lungs. The grip tightened, and I was yanked backward away from the light. I clawed at the floor, nails splitting, boots kicking against the steel. The humming was louder now, layered with something almost delighted. Lisa shrieked my name. Dylan reached for me, his fingers outstretched, and then the grip faltered. I ripped my leg free and threw myself through the closing doors, rolling onto the damp ground outside. A heartbeat later, the factory's doors slammed shut with a deafening boom, sealing the nightmare inside. Silence. For a long time, none of us moved. We just sat there trembling, our breaths harsh in the cold night air. The factory loomed dark and quiet once more, as if nothing had happened, as if it hadn't just tried to swallow us whole. Ethan was gone. The factory had taken him. And as we staggered away, I swore I heard it again. The hum, the whispering, a mechanical, hungry purr, waiting for its next visitors.